Good morning, everyone. I am Maury Ruffin, the Managing Director of the Alliance for Regenerative Medicine, and I want to welcome you to the 5th meeting on the Mesa Business Forum. This is actually an anniversary year, as I said, our 5th year. It's also the 10th year of the stem cell meeting on the Mesa and the Scientific Symposium they've been doing for those 10 years. That will take place the 3rd day of this meeting at the Salk Institute, which is just adjacent to this property. I want to thank our co-hosts for this meeting, the California Institute for Regenerative Medicine and also the Sanford Consortium for Regenerative Medicine. We have been working together, as I said, for the last 5 years to build up this meeting. They've been tremendous co-hosts and partners with us, and we're delighted to be working with them. We have a very rich program for you all over the next actually 3 days. So 2 days here and then the day, as I mentioned, at the Salk Institute. So we have a number of panel sessions. Will be followed by our plenary session here this morning. We have workshops in the morning and then obviously company presentations with close to, I think, 60 companies presenting over the next 2 days. So it's going to be very busy. For many of you, you know, our work actually began here yesterday. So ARM, its staff, and our members met here yesterday. We had our section meetings, we had an executive committee meeting, we also had our membership meeting. And at the membership meeting, we elected the 32 members to our new board of directors, so I'm delighted to welcome them, and maybe if we could give a hand for ARM's new board of directors. It's really a terrific group of people, and we also elected our executive committee and our officers. We actually re-elected our officers, which allows me to perform my next role, which is to introduce Edward Lanphier, the CEO of Sangamo BioSciences. Edward is our chair and in his 2nd year, and we're delighted to have him here. Edward, the stage is yours. Oh, he said he wanted to give me some adjectives to use. How about inimitable? I don't know. Okay, there we go.
Infamous.
Infamous. There we go.
Good morning. It's great to see so many here. So many of you here. I think I have. Yeah. So good morning. This is a very good opportunity for me personally, for all of us to get together, to renew relationships, to see friends, to see colleagues, and this is a rich industry, one that's growing rapidly, and ARM is right square smack in the center of it. So I just want to make a couple of opening comments about the meeting, about ARM, and then try and get out of the way because I'm actually much more interested in hearing the panel that Amy's going to be chairing. And I think it'll be very interesting. So as Maury said, ARM was founded in 2009. We're now at about 225 members. It's not a typical industry organization. Our membership, you all, are a diverse group. We're industry people, but we're also research institutes, we're patient advocacy groups, we're investors, and it brings together, you know, what I like to talk about it being the kind of heterogeneous elements that really are required to move new drugs forward. And so ARM really has done, I think, a very good job of organizing itself to bring together that kind of constituencies. And when you get together I'll talk about our sections and our committees, that heterogeneity of membership really creates an enormously rich element of contribution. The growth in the industry, particularly kind of forward integrating in the in vivo gene therapy and in the genetically modified cell therapies, and quite frankly the robust capital markets over the last several years have allowed us to grow into beyond just the regenerative medicine space into the advanced therapy space, and that includes lots of gene therapy and genetically modified cell therapy companies, 50 new members in ARM since the last time we were here. And Maury talked to you a little bit about this meeting now in its 10th anniversary, and last year we were about 700. This year we expect to be over 800, and again I think that's a good surrogate marker for the growth of the business. Just a quick, I won't say advertisement, but maybe a quick positioning around ARM. I said this yesterday at the executive committee meeting and also at the board meeting. is people ask, well, what's the board going to do, and what's the executive committee going to do? And the truth is, this is not a top-down driven organization. This is a bottoms-up driven organization. These sections, and you can see on the left-hand slide what those are, every single company, every single member of ARM, Patient Advocacy Group, Research Institute, should be absolutely positively in one or more of these sections. And then on the right-hand side, these are the committees that really drive the specialty elements of grinding out, what are the kinds of issues that the cell therapy space faces from a government policy or a regulatory issue. And those regulatory committees really grind on that, prioritize those programs. So the bottoms up, the input from the membership through this structure is really what drives the organization. And so to the extent that you all are members of ARM, I would deeply encourage you to think about this structure, think about what you care about and where you feel like you have an opportunity to contribute, because it's really your priorities and your voices that drive the board and the executive committee in terms of our priorities. So just a couple of examples. I'm not going to read these off, but how does that process manifest itself from an action perspective? What do we currently really think about? These are high-level points. These aren't the really granular policy issues or granular white papers that we're working on, but it gives you a sense of the kinds of things we think about. How do we help maintain what's been an enormous amount of clinical momentum, which has really helped to drive not only the capital markets, but also what we'll hear about from a partnering perspective in a moment. How do we think about the value that we're creating for patients, and how do we translate that value from a reimbursement perspective? Absolutely critical for all of us. And ARM, again, I won't go through each one of these, but ARM really is, in that composition or in that organizational structure, at the bullseye of these questions. And I deeply encourage you all to become as involved as you want to be. Last slide for me is just to talk a little bit about the meeting that we're here to attend. I obviously don't have to encourage you all to network in this. It's a target-rich environment for all of us. I don't care, what your agenda is. It's a great place to meet people, to talk about the industry, to talk about what we're doing. If you take advantage of that, I'm positive you'll leave here with a very good experience. I think it speaks to the growth of the meeting. The next couple days are really around the partnering and business and panels that you'll be able to attend. There's a lot of company presentations. I, for one, go to a lot of these investment banking meetings where they lock me in a room and that's all I ever see is that room. This is a great opportunity to go see a bunch of companies, and I think it's I learn a lot from doing that. Will be a public forum tomorrow evening. It's a wonderful opportunity to hear specifically in the tissue regeneration ophthalmic space. And then lastly, at the end of the meeting, there will be the Scientific Symposium on which the meeting was really created. So hopefully you'll all be able to be here for the duration. So those are my opening remarks. My last task is to introduce Amy Butler. Amy's the VP of Cell Biology and General Manager of Thermo Fisher Scientific, and Amy has a spectacularly interesting panel. I'm going to sit right in the front row and ask all the hard questions. But Amy, thanks very much for that. Thank you all and welcome.